Next on the agenda, Commissioner Jordan will talk about the proposed courthouse renovation.
All right, now, Mr. Chairman, we have before us the historic Old Courthouse. We have to make a decision on how we're gonna move forward. If we don't do anything, we're gonna have an eyesore and potential liability for the county. It has been the desire of many of the citizens that we do something to try to restore some historic property. And we have contacted Clearscapes. They've given us a proposal on what it would take to move forward in doing the assessment of all that's involved in restoring the courthouse. And I would recommend that the board establish a plan of action. First of all, I would recommend that we authorize the county manager to contact Clearscape Architects and authorize them to move forward in phase one part of their proposal, which would fully assess the condition of the old courthouse. Now, this proposal has been estimated at $33,000. And there are grants out there that can address part of this problem, these funds. Clearscapes themselves, in the letter that they just sent to us, said they have identified funds to offset some of the costs. And I believe that we have the potential of utilizing some existing funds within our county budget to address this if need be. But the point is that we cannot just sit by and allow this courthouse to become an eyesore and a liability. So I would recommend that we also assemble a committee of citizens from various districts of the county to provide information and direction on how we're going to use the courthouse once it's restored, and provide information to the architects. Also, once we get the phase one in, we would need to move to phase two. And once we get phase two completed, we would need to make a decision on whether or not we're going to spend the money to have the historic courthouse refurbished. Now, I would also recommend that if we intend to borrow money to do this, along with other grants and citizen participation or whatever, that we would make it a voter referendum, allow the citizens of the county to vote whether or not they would want to move forward in spending the money on restoring the courthouse. It could involve a half-cent tax increase, 1 cent tax increase, or whatever. But we could do it through a bond referendum or however we want to finance it. So, but this gives us a plan of action on moving forward, and I think we need to adopt this tonight, give the authorization to the county manager so that he can contact Clearscapes and procure their services to start the phase one. And also to have our clerk to advertise in the paper with the assistance of Cal for committee members to serve on the old historic courthouse committee. Thank you.
Are you gonna make this as a motion, or
No, I'm
just starting as a conversation?
I'll make it a motion if you want to. I'll make
Let's
that a
do
motion.
the conversation first, and see whatever. Y'all have anything to work about? Is there any questions or statements to make?
Well, I think the sentiment of the citizens is to restore the courthouse. On the application for the offer for people to serve on the committee, I'd like to see that done exactly the way we're doing on the current request to be on the committee by application. If we could put something like that on the website where it could be filled out there, that would be helpful. But he just put together a good proposal, and I can stand behind what I see.
Anything else?
Well, I agree with most of what's on here. obviously, I think we don't need to make the same mistakes that we made with the library. People, the citizens need to be included in the decision-making process. And as Jack said, I think the sentiment, well, I think that too, but I don't know it. And I think that what we need to do is develop a survey document that goes out to the citizens of Gates County, registered voters of Gates County, to be included in the water bill or whatever, with probably 10 yes/no answers and a comment section. First off, how much money do you think it should be restored? Do you think it should be torn down? Do you think it should be turned over to someone else? Would you support a certain tax increase to revitalize that? Take those documents, build out a consensus, then establish a committee to work on the desires of the citizens of Gates County. And then develop a proposal that we could vote on to do this. There are a lot of things that are available, just like these historical tax credits, depending on how you handle it and the amount of money. Another thing is deciding really what it should be used for. Obviously, I was in disagreement. I thought the courthouse should be reestablished just like it was in Jackson County, North Carolina, to a nice library that was in our state magazine and in several of those. Could be done, should have been done, but that's hindsight. But the people need to be included. Whether that starts with an initial survey, and I think that is the approach to do. Take those and then accumulate them in the database, see where the consensus is. Mr. Pierce made a good recommendation. That is possible. With an old federal style building like that. Because I would hate to see it torn down. But regardless, the citizens need to be included in the decision-making process. They're the ones that got to pay for it. They're the ones that got to look after it. And just because when we restore it, then we got to keep it up. We can't just ignore it. And we don't need to make the same mistake again. And so I think we do the 33,000. I think it's very important that we understand what we're getting into first, and you got to spend that money up front. And as the letter states, the initial cost, there are grants out there for people that will pay for that to allow you to do that. There are a lot of, I'll get tongue-tied saying that some of those people that philanthropists, whatever, and I can't get it out exactly right, that enjoy doing this kind of stuff, but you have to make a case to it. One cat up in Washington, D.C., and has done a lot of this. Now, I don't mean he's going to pay for the whole thing, but he will shuck out a lot of change. Why? Because it's advantageous to him. A lot of these people, when they give money away, guess who really pays for that money that they give away? You, the taxpayer. If he's in the right tax bracket, the federal government gives him 35% of that money back. If he's in the state of North Carolina, the state of North Carolina gives him 9% back, but he's got to owe taxes. So how do you owe taxes? You have to be making money, or you've got plenty of money. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that are fortunate people that will give money away for you to do projects. All you got to do is hang a little shingle on the side of the building. That's all they ask. But they do it because there are tax advantages to them. Then along with that, you got the historical tax credits. That's why corporations do this. That's the only reason. And they charge a small amount of money to do that, like 10% of what the initial funding is. And we have to be proactive, but we got to do the first step first. And then we need to know whether the citizens really want to do this. And what Henry's got is, I mean, it's the right direction, we do need to know what our citizens want. We don't need to go through the same fiasco that we've been through. Again, it has to be a collective decision, county commissioners and citizens, not 5 people or 3 people.
All right, what's the pleasure of the